who, although he is a scholar, finds it hard to understand Jesus. This woman, though seemingly she is not the most educated person in the world, at least she has been listening and exploring and understanding some of what the Jewish people believed and what the Samaritans believed, and she knew some of the similarities and the distinctions. She was quite the theologian. And Jesus engaged her, and she seemed to almost anticipate his answers. She was in contrast to Nicodemus, a person of no account according to society. And yet, Jesus counted her as worthy of talking with. Jesus does this, and his disciples don't know what he's doing. They have no idea that he's been talking to this Samaritan woman until they get back. But you hear the conversation along the way that they missed, and this woman says to Jesus, you don't have anything that I can pour this water in. And Jesus says, well, go and get your husband. She says, I have no husband. And then Jesus says, well, that is true. You have spoken truthfully. You've had 5 husbands, and now the man you're with is not your husband. Now, as we hear that, maybe our minds start to clicking and thinking, well, this woman was not only a Samaritan, she was maybe not the woman that anyone would want to associate with. And if we do that, we would be in line with centuries of Christian theologians. And we would also be in line with the disciples of Jesus' day. But we would not be in line with Jesus, because Jesus never once condemns her. He just states the fact. And it seems that he states the fact to engage her attention. And she does understand after that he is a prophet. And so she asks him questions. You see, Jesus is bridging a divide, crossing over a gap that is so forbidden that we, maybe in our day, don't see it as much as they did. And yet Jesus did this openly in the middle of the day. There is another contrast. You see, in the middle of the day was not the usual time to go and fetch some water. This woman came because she didn't want to be seen. She had that much in common with Nicodemus. Nicodemus, in order not to be seen, had to come at night. She had to come in the middle of the day. And boy, that got tiring. Fetching that water in the heat of the day, going back and forth as she would have to many times, and maybe even her fellow Samaritans condemning her along the way. But not Jesus. Jesus is determined to talk to her because he wants something good for her. And he wants to show his disciples and to show the Samaritan people who he was and who he is still. The Christ, the Messiah, the one who came to be a liberating king of all people. Although in that day, of course, the Jews believed that the Messiah would come for the Jewish people, for the Jewish nation, to liberate them, not the Samaritans or the Gentiles, but only them. But Jesus is building not only a bridge, he's building a new kingdom. And that kingdom is boundless. That kingdom is not